Hello, welcome to the Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
Hey, I'm Josh.
And, well, a little bummer of a note, but old Val Kilmer passed away. And, you know, growing up in the 80s and 90s and even 2000s and so on like that, those movies are such a big deal, all the ones he's in, you know, whether that be anything from, you know, him playing Batman in Batman Forever, him as Jim Morrison in the Doors movie, even in Top Gun, you know, as the Iceman. I mean, there's so many great ones there. And we were thinking of doing a Western. That was what we were going for. Like, we're going to do a Western on our next one. And then once we got the news about Val Kilmer, it's like, well, God, you know what? We should pull out a Val Kilmer movie from the collection. And we were kind of going back and forth between two of them. And then we're like, you know what? Since we're in the Western mood, let's just go with Tombstone. It's a big movie, but it's a great film. And not only, you know, it's one of those ones where, like, Val Kilmer, I think, is the part that really steals the show. There's so many actors in this and so many great performances, but his role in this is so fantastic and so standout-ish and just filled with all kinds of great lines that, you know, you'll remember till the end of time.
Well, yeah. How many old men do you see walking around town with, you know, I'll be your Huckleberry T-shirts on and crap like that, right?
Exactly. You know, that's the most frightening thing ever is when an old man kind of like, it's like if you're in the bathroom stall and you just hear an old man come behind you and be like, I'll be your Huckleberry.
Yeah, right. You'd be Daisy if you do. Oh, no.
No, get away from me, sir.
Right. It was kind of hard, though, like, you know, thinking of like a Val Kilmer movie before we get into Tombstone, but trying to think of a Val Kilmer movie to cover on here, because we're like, hey, we got to pick one of his like most iconic roles, not one of our favorite. Because if I picked my favorite Val Kilmer role in general, it's probably going to be from Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Oh God, I always forget he's in that one too.
He steals that. Like, Robert Downey Jr. is amazing in that film, but I'm like, Val Kilmer's character is my favorite character. And I'm not even going to talk about it. Just go watch that movie. Does not get enough credit, but that movie is phenomenal.
No, that's a good one. That's another one of those. Oh God, what's his name? The guy who wrote Lethal Weapon. I'm trying to blank on his name right now, but he makes great like post Lethal Weapon, which is already amazing. Like all the movies he generally like makes, he like The Nice Guys and all that kind of stuff. He's in Predator. He's the guy that tells like the two jokes. God, why am I trying to blank on his name? But
Shane Black.
Yeah, Shane Black. There we go. Generally, all his stuff's really fantastic. The Predator 4 was a little bit of. Right. I'm not too sure what to think about that. You know,
which one's Predator 4?
That's the one called The Predator. The one that's kind of like a comedy. It's kind of weird, if that makes any sense.
Right.
It came out maybe 6 years ago or something like that. 8 years ago. And I saw it in cinemas, and I think I have it on Blu-ray, but I haven't really seen it yet. And it's one of those ones, I didn't dislike it, but like I was expecting, like, dude, it's Shane Black. He's coming back to Predator. It's going to be so amazing. And then I watched him, it's like, it's kind of different. It's weird. It's like, it's almost like a buddy comedy, and they just happen to get trapped with the Predator, or Predators. There's multiple ones in there, and so on like that.
And they're like in the town, right?
Yeah, because I think it's that thing.
Okay,
where,
yeah.
You know, because Shane Black's movies, especially, you know, as time has gone on, they always kind of were action comedies of some kind. And I think it maybe just got to him. He's like, hey, people like the comedy stuff. I'm going to do a Predator comedy movie or a partial comedy, you know. And as I said, it was kind of a weird one. It was one of those ones I remember walking out being like, oh, okay, this is a, you know, I don't know what to think. But I want to give it another go. As I said, I have it sitting there on Blu-ray. I've thought about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think same thing. I think I watched it in theaters, and I've never watched it since. And I want to say I was disappointed.
Yeah,
because
that's good.
I always go with the last good one. Prey was really good.
No, Prey's super good.
Yeah, that one's good. But before Prey came out, I was like Predators with the pianist. I always forget his name. Yeah.
The Predator's the one that's always call it Predator 3, but that one
the one that follows the comics as close as possible, where they're on the hunting world.
Yeah,
that one's awesome. I love that movie.
And then you're wondering why Eric Foreman's there the whole time, and then you realize it's like, oh, he's a serial killer.
And it's like, never trust Foreman.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't trust him. But down to Tombstone, you look at the cast of actors in this. I'm gonna lay them out. I'm gonna name some of the biggest names.
You can name them all. There's like 15 of them. It just keeps going the way the movie goes on.
So, of course, Kurt Russell, Val Kilmer, Sam Elliot. You got Bill Paxton,
and
Billy Bob Thornton.
Those are 4 main characters, you know.
Right. Billy Bob Thornton is the poor Faro dealer that Kurt Russell bullies out of his job.
That's one of my favorite. That almost might be my favorite scene in the movie is where Kurt Russell is slapping around Billy Bob Thornton.
Right.
Just
in that smoke wagon. Howard's Boothe, who's just awesome.
Always.
Billy Zane, Michael Rooker, Stephen Lang, Thomas Haden Church.
Yep.
I gotta throw it in.
He's in there too.
Gotta throw it in here. Frank Stallone.
Yeah, you get Stallone's son. You also get Michael Biehn as the main bad guy. Kyle Reese representing Terminator. Terry
O'Quinn's in it. Bunch of older, Western actors are in this as well. But,
And then, of course, the big dog himself, Charlton Heston's in there towards the very, very end.
Right. So, you got this crazy cast of characters. And then, let's be honest, everybody has their favorite Western, cowboy movie star. I'm sorry, anybody who, honestly, if enough people see this and they want to start a shit throwing contest, I'm going to put it out here right now. Sam Elliot is the best cowboy that's ever been on cinema.
I don't think there's a whole lot of people that are going to argue with you on that one. That's
no, I think there's a lot who'll argue, and it's all based on the Sackett's TV show. But get fucked. I love Sam Elliot.
Yeah, hey, speaking of that Sackett's one, I found that on VHS. I got the 2 VHS copy of it because we were talking about that many episodes back, and then I saw it and I was like, oh yeah, here it is. It might have been one.
You need to watch it. It's so good.
So we've been talking about that. But, I think a lot of people still agree, though. Sam Elliott's kind of up there. If you said Michael Biehn is, the best cowboy
right. Billy Bob Thornton. Billy Bob Thornton is the greatest cowboy in cinema.
Yeah, Thomas Haden Church, I think that was the best cowboy ever,
Right.
In 100 movies, the Duke doesn't have anything on him.
Right, 100%. But I have a thing for Sam Elliott. I can't help it. I watched that Sackett's TV show as a kid. I think that's one of the biggest factors that got me into Westerns was watching that TV show. But yeah, man.
Well, it's that, and then I always think the other big movie this is not really a Western, but is him in Roadhouse. I think he's just such a badass. He's the older trainer guy and whatnot like that.
Right.
Doesn't matter what it is. Sam Elliott always delivers, and in this one here, he's just playing the older brother, pretty much.
Right.
Which it feels like he's not that much older than everybody else, but he looks older than all the other guys because that's just the way Sam Elliott has always looked. I felt like he's one of those guys who like Steve Martin or something like that, who just always kind of had gray hair for a very long time.
He's always looked ancient. Go back and watch 1987's The Quick and the Dead. He looks old even in that. Great movie, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
What else? The Shadow Riders. I mean, he's not the most prolific Western star, I guess, but I don't know. I just fucking love Sam Elliott. He could do no wrong.
No. Just by all means. And then also, this movie is directed by George Cosmatos, who also did Cobra with Stallone, and he also did Rambo First Blood, I think Part 2, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And then he's got a bunch of other movies, because I was looking through them, and I was like, I've never seen all the other ones other than, he did Rambo 2 and Cobra. And strangely enough, Tombstone is his second to last movie, that he did.
Is it really?
Yeah, apparently, he did a movie called Shadow Conspiracy in '97. That sounds interesting. It's got Charlie Sheen, Donald Sutherland, Linda Hamilton in it. But apparently his wife...
Well, that sounds awesome. That billing sounds awesome.
Yeah, that sounds really cool. But apparently his wife died, right afterwards. He's like, yep, I'm done. I'm not doing movies anymore. I'm going to go collect old books. And then that's what he did until he died.
Well, that's fucked.
Yeah, so that kind of sucks. But there's some of these older ones... that I found that like they sound really interesting. Like there's one called Escape to Athena that's like it's got Roger Moore and Telly Savalas, David Niven in it, and so on like that. And it's the British war film of like WW2 and everything. I think there was another one called Massacre in Rome, which was another World War II one that he did. So he did a bunch of like war films and so on like that throughout time.
Right.
That all sound interesting.
That sounds awesome.
Thrillers. So yeah, it'd be kind of cool to see more of his. He doesn't have a ton of movies. He really only has like maybe 10 movies in total, but Tombstone really delivers. And when I do think of Tombstone, it feels like, you know, Westerns have always sort of come in waves as time got on, but I think that after about the 70s, the Westerns they've always been there, but in the 80s, they kind of petered out a little bit, you know, because even Clint Eastwood himself wasn't really doing them as much anymore. He started doing like either the kind of Southern ones, like Any Which Way But Loose, and, you know, all like the kind of modern day movies and whatnot. And then, feels like Young Guns was kind of like the resurgence movie in '88 for like, hey,
it's so big.
Yeah, and it's like, hey, these westerns can be hip. We got these young bun guys out here. You know, we got Charlie Sheen, we got Emilio. You know, we got not Donald Sutherland, Kiefer Sutherland and everything like that. You know,
Queefer
Phillips. So you had that, and then there's this resurgence because then Clint Eastwood comes back and does The Unforgiven in like '90,
right?
You know? And then after that, Tombstone comes. You got the Wyatt Earp, which is the Kevin Costner version in a sense, like the following year. Badgirls, which was also where we came from, was the very last movie to ever be shot in Tuolumne County, and Tuolumne County screwed Hollywood, and that was the end of that. They tried to get more money out of them, and they said they're never coming back. That was pretty much what happened. And this was 94.
Fun fact, we won't name names, but we have a friend whose father swears he skinny dipped with Drew Barrymore while they were filming that movie. So, little fun fact.
Yeah, well, my apparently Drew Barrymore came into the bar when my dad was working and got a drink there. And same thing with Christopher Lloyd when they did Back to the Future Part 3, speaking of another Western. I think that also helped too. But so that was the thing, you know. And Clint Eastwood stayed at that building that, like, as you entered the county that burned down at one place. I was like, that's the house that Clint Eastwood stayed at. How dare you burn down that place?
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, so the Westerns were kind of I feel like in the early 90s, they were actually kind of in a good comeback time period. And Tombstone's probably the biggest of them all, realistically, you know.
It's one of the biggest Westerns in general.
Yeah, because Unforgiven's pretty darn huge, too.
Right.
That story gets aped all the time. Nowadays, people think of it as they go, "Oh, they aped Old Man Logan." It's like, no, that technically was Unforgiven, but you know, it stacks on top of each other.
Well, that, you know, I've never been to like a film school or anything like that, but I can imagine at least like the theme and or that movie gets talked about a lot with all the, like you said, that theme of like the Old Man Logan, you know, Unforgiven, basically somebody with immense sin who has to get back in there and start killing again. And there's some starry-eyed youth who is all like, I'm going to be a man killer. And Clint Eastwood's little speech about, you know, killing a man changes you. Yeah. That has to be studied because it is perfect. It's a perfect film in many ways.
Well, it really is, because it feels like it's almost like if you rounded up all Clint Eastwood's Western characters, whether that be maybe Rawhide, you know, Good, Bad, and the Ugly, Outlaw Josie Wales, you know, Two Mules for Sister Sarah, all those ones. And it's almost like, here's that guy now as an old man, and he's given it up, you know what I mean? He's watched too much tragedy over time. But then he's brought back into it, just like Al Pacino in The Godfather Part 3. Just out, they bring me back in.
Right. And that's kind of, you know what? That's kind of the theme in Tombstone as well. Mm-hmm. Wyatt wants nothing to do with being a lawman anymore. Even Sam Elliot, all of them, Bill Paxton, you know, rest in pepperonis, Bill Paxton.
Yeah, and I always feel bad whenever you see Bill Paxton in a movie. You know he's gonna die. Like, it feels like he's always the guy who's not gonna make it.
I know.
It's like guaranteed. You know, ever since seeing him first in like Terminator, it's like he's like the first guy to die in that movie.
Right, right. Twister's like the one he made it out. He got the girl. He pulled it off.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah, that's one of the few ones. But like, it seems like in all these old, like in Aliens, he doesn't make it.
Right.
Predator 2 is that the one he's in? Yeah, Predator 2 doesn't make it. Yeah, but poor Bill Paxton. But he's always like one of the guys he's always great. Always is.
Titanic doesn't make it.
Doesn't make. Well, yeah, I feel James Cameron just knows he always just kills him off and everything.
Edge of Tomorrow doesn't make
it, but he also definitely gets a stern scare from Arnold Schwarzenegger and like the the organization.
He's in Commando.
Yeah, he is. Oh god, it's like the super brief part.
Okay. Anyways, I fucking love Bill Paxton.
I'm trying to think what part that is, but yeah, he's Arnold Schwarzenegger's buddy, so he'll appear, even in all kinds of things. But
right. Yeah, I love Bill Paxton. Yeah. But I mean, back to what we were saying about Val Kilmer, I always say this is his biggest role. Like, this is his most iconic role, but for whatever reason, everyone quotes Iceman as his biggest role, and I'm like, he's barely in the movie. Like, he's there.
Yeah. That's how I feel too. It's like one of those ones, like, yeah, and Iceman, that one, he's like a C character. He stands out a lot, and he's great in it, but he's not, he's kind of not really one of the main characters. I mean, I guess you would say he sort of is.
He's not even the main foil against Tom Cruise. Like, he's just one of the, antagonistic characters Tom Cruise is facing, because he's also facing, like, his own, machismo, the death of Goose, the female chick that he's trying to bang out and prove that he's not actually gay, according to Quentin Tarantino.
And she's like 4 inches taller than him.
Yes. Since we're on that subject, Quentin Tarantino, what movie is that he's in where he's basically talking about...
Yeah, he's got
that whole, the speech I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, he's got like a 10-minute monologue on it, and it's like one of those, like, because right when Tarantino, it's like the second that he got Reservoir Dogs out, he was like, oh, I could be in all kinds of stuff. So he appears in all sorts of movies for a good while, and then he stops doing that after a bit. But I can't remember exactly what that one is, but it's a great run, because it's literally like a Tarantino scene. It just happens to be in somebody else's movie, and it's played by Tarantino.
And it is absolutely brilliant dialogue that sums up Top Gun. See, Iceman, he represents homosexuality.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And that's what I mean. It's like, I mean, there's other big ones too, but like a lot of times there's a lot of movies when you think of Val Kilmer movies, it's like there's ones where he stars, like The Saint, you know what I mean? But,
The Saint, The Ghost of the Darkness, Batman.
But those are all, like, a lot of movies he's in, they're kind of like Tombstone, where it's like, it's him and Kurt Russell, as in Ghost in the Darkness. It's him and, why am I trying to blank on son?
Catherine Zeta-Jones' husband?
Yeah,
Douglas.
What? Yeah, Michael Douglas.
Michael Douglas. There we go.
Yeah.
The Doug.
The Doug. So, and then even things like Willow, that's another one where I feel like he's not the main character, but he does stand out a lot. Like, he's in a lot of, and I guess he's in a lot of movies, they're like buddy movies,
Right.
Of course, he's Batman and Batman Forever, and I'm always pretty partial to Batman Forever myself,
It's a good one. That's one of the better ones of the old Batmans.
Yeah, so...
I think that's probably my favorite of the old Batmans.
Yeah, I'm very nostalgic for that one,
Yeah.
I literally have behind me, I still got the... Oh, you guys can't see on the screen. It's just out of... So out of the frame just by a little bit, but there's the old Batmobile there from literally that movie.
Nice.
Right next to Sonic, so... But
I feel like this is his most iconic role, though. Like,
I think so.
I will make that argument till I'm fucking dead. Because he steals the film.
Yes.
Like, he becomes the biggest part of this film. Like, Wyatt Earp's awesome. And yeah, he monopolizes the screen time because it's his story.
Yeah.
But I mean, everybody's just like, man, Doc Holliday has all the best lines. Like, what Kurt Russell's best line in it is when he's wading into the river and he just decides that, he's going to bait Curly Bill to come out into the water and get blasted with a shotgun. He just stands up going, no.
boom, 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 slow motion. It's got like that Young Guns thing.
Right, or like I'm coming and hell's coming with me. That's like his like two biggest like lines in that film, in my opinion.
Yeah, they're not nearly as exciting as all of Val Kilmer's in this one.
Oh, well, his are so good, and the way he delivers them, his entire performance in it, like he looks like he's fucking sick.
Yeah, the whole time he's sweating, he's skinny, you know what I mean? He's got the whole tuberculosis thing just kind of down and everything like that. And it's funny because, like, also in the Wyatt Earp movie, the Kevin Costner one, God, it's just, well, I don't feel like it's just late in the weekend that I keep just spacing out on names, but what is it? God, this should be one of those nights where I'm just gonna be like, yeah, I can't remember his name. But, he played Jerry Lee Lewis in Great Balls of Fire. He was just in that Reagan movie. He played Reagan.
I'm looking up the cast right now. Dennis Quaid.
Dennis Quaid.
How do you forget Dennis Quaid?
I don't know. It's just
shame on you.
I'm just at that late point or whatever. Well, it's not even that late, but just late in the weekend. That's all I'm gonna say. Where you just like,
gosh.
But yeah, Dennis.
I forgot the cast in that movie. Or that phenomenal cast too.
And it's one of those ones I will say, like, as time has gone on, I whenever I watch Wyatt Earp, I kind of go, I love Tombstone, but Wyatt Earp's so good too. Like, because most people just like throw Wyatt Earp. Right. They'd be like, whatever. I got Tombstone. I don't need Wyatt Earp. I'm like, dude, Wyatt Earp's. And I think because it's like a larger story, because it's like the epic, where Tombstone's kind of like the Hollywood action movie.
Yeah.
Wyatt Earp's kind of like the large.
It's a long movie. It's a long movie. 3.5 hours long.
It's two discs. It's 2 discs for DVD.
Yeah, that's a long movie. But the cast: Kevin Costner, Dennis Quaid, Gene Hackman, Jim Caviezel, Tom Sizemore, Mark Harmon, Michael Madsen, Bill Pullman.
Yeah, Bill Pullman's. That's right. I was just saying because I was like, because Michael Bihn's in this one. I was like, Bill Pullman, I'm pretty sure is in the other one. So yeah, it's got a huge cast and everything like that too. And I think it's literally just. I think they're both good, just in slightly different ways. You know,
right? If
you want the more epic, Western, you go with Wyatt Earp. If you want a little bit more Hollywood styled one, Tombstone delivers. I mean, it's even from. I love the company. Oh yeah, I got my Blu-ray here too, but which is kind of like a. I will say they've kind of always put kind of crappy versions out of this movie where it's, I mean, the quality's fine, but there's no special features or anything like that.
Right.
It's kind of such a shame. And it's from Hollywood Pictures, which I love the movies that come out. And Hollywood Pictures only really last for like 6 years, but I'm so nostalgic for so many things because not only is it Tombstone, The Rock is underneath that. Super Mario Brothers, Son-in-Law, Encino Man. There's a lot of like stuff that just like, I just love it. It's weird because it's got like such a wide variety. And the strange thing too is it's actually a Disney company. So like Tombstone being a rated R movie, it's like a rated R Disney movie.
Right.
But yeah, all their movies, like as far as DVDs and releases later on, like they kind of just got like they just slap them on there and just throw them on out. No special features. On the DVD time, I remember like the Tombstone DVD used to be like a crap one. You'd throw that, you'd be fine if you're watching it on like a 20-inch like CRT TV, but if you went to throw it on a widescreen TV or anything like that, it's like a 1-layer DVD. It's not formatted for widescreen TVs, and since the movie's already like 240 aspect ratio, you're watching it like a tiny letterbox, with black bars on the side too. Yeah, it's like they just didn't treat that movie with a very good release, sadly.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I'm sure they corrected that since this movie is on TV all the time.
Yeah, well, as I said, the Blu-ray, the picture quality's great on it and so on like that. It's just it has no special features or something like that for like what you would want. Or I believe it doesn't. Oh, it's got a making of. Never mind, I take it back. Maybe just get sidetracked on the DVD had no special features or anything. But so at least that one's got a little bit more. But you would still expect this movie for how big it was. Because I just even remember being as a kid, like one of those ones like Tombstone was like, oh, you had to go out and see that at some point. You know what I mean? Like that was a movie that was like huge.
It's still huge. It's still massive.
Yeah. It's
like you go anywhere. I went to a theme park here in Arkansas, in Missouri, and they had like, it's kind of like Frontier Town style, kind of like a Knott's Berry Farm style. Mm-hmm. And so it's like very much like celebrating like old Americana. but they have like a Western day, and they have all these artists that, you know, make all kinds of Western stuff. Like you could buy hats, you could buy true taxidermied raccoons in funny positions, fishing using like a can of Mountain Dew or something like that. Has all kinds of cool stuff. The amount of John Wayne and Tombstone shit you see, just like artwork people are drawing, carvings, wood burning, where it's like the cast of Tombstone, like, you know, like that DVD picture. It'll be that like burned into wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Just random Tombstone shit everywhere. And, you know, like 50-year-old men just buying that shit up.
Yep, exactly. Well, 'cause it doesn't matter. Like, I feel for just guys in general. Everybody's trying to appeal to their 10-year-old self, no matter how old they are. Because if you ever look at it, you look like a guy's like a 65-year-old guy. It's like, well, he just really loved Westerns back in the day. Or he really liked, like, you know, cars, and that's why his house is filled with Westerns and model cars, because he's just trying to once again appeal to his 10-year-old self.
Right. I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense.
You know, but yeah, Tombstone's one of those ones, because, you know, we were talking about, speaking of Kurt Russell, we were talking about Backdraft a handful of episodes back. And that's one of those movies where, you know, it was humongous in the early 90s, but as time has kind of gone on, it's, you know, it's sort of disappeared. Yeah, people do remember it and everything like that, but it hasn't stuck around the same way. That Tombstone's still one of those ones that you can run into somebody and they might tell you that movie's in their top 10 favorite film, maybe even top 5. I hear that a lot, where it's like it's that big of a deal for them, you know. So it has stuck around a lot better than many other things. And granted, I think Westerns kind of always, because they're a period piece, they stay more relevant in a sense. Right.
Well, I mean, that's a good point. Because it's like, how can it date itself? It's already dated.
It's already 1880 or whatever, 1879. So
right, it's already dated.
Yeah, there it is. You know, but yeah, this one here, when it takes the Wyatt Earp story, is that, yeah, it's literally just the Wyatt Earp and his brothers just show up to Tombstone, and they're like, you know what, we're done with Dodge City. We've done all our, you know, days of being lawmen and sheriffs and all that kind of stuff, and it's over, you know. So we're just gonna come here, and I love that they just sort of show up. And they're like, let's see, what can we do that's easy money? Like, they're just almost looking around like con artists and so on, like that.
How can we make money, boys?
Yeah, show up to this, you know, podunk town of Tombstone in Arizona and see how we can, like, you know, just show them up. I mean, the first thing that, like, they do is that's when Kurt Russell walks into, like, the bar and he sees Billy Bob Thornton there and he's like, oh, this guy's an idiot. Let me just go and show him who's boss.
Oh, this is chunky Billy Bob. I can push him around. This is easy money.
Yeah, so Billy Bob's there as, like, you know, the dealer for, like, the gambling house and whatnot like that. And Kurt Russell doesn't think he's doing a good enough job, just picks him up, starts slapping him around and everything like that.
Tries to get him to draw his pistol.
Yeah.
I guess that's the other awesome line Kurt Russell has. Skin that smoke wagon.
Yeah, that was a good one right there.
I love, that's also when they finally meet up with Doc Holliday, where Johnny comes down, he's walking down the street, he's got the shotgun, he's going to shoot Wyatt Earp in the back, and Doc Holliday basically intervenes just by saying his name, and then just proceeds to ignore him. Talks to Wyatt Earp, and then when Johnny realizes it's Wyatt Earp, and then Doc Holliday just turns to him. He's like, "Oh, Johnny, I forgot you was there."
I know this guy was just hell bent on revenge, and then all of a sudden he's just stopped in his tracks, you know, by being ignored. That's all it took, was just to be ignored.
Right. Oh, Johnny, I forgot you was there. Anyways, you could go.
Yeah, and then it's weird because you never see Billy Bob again. Like, I always kind of thought, like, is he going to show back up in this movie? No, he never does. He just tucks his tail and literally leaves set. That's it.
Yeah, Billy Bob was happy to be in it at that time. I'm sure he was very happy.
This very early days, Billy Bob Thornton and so on like that.
Right.
But so what happens there is they just decide, like, hey, we're just going to run this gambling house or whatever and take, what do they take, like 25% of, like, the cut?
House take, yeah.
Yeah, the bartender's like, oh, okay, I guess. Just don't slap me around, Wyatt.
Yeah. At least, you know, you seem a little bit more nice. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, they practically show up to Tombstone like they're extorting businesses like the mob.
Right.
You know.
I mean, they even get shamed by the marshal, like the U.S. marshal that's like nearby, where he's like, we really need you boys. And Wyatt Earp's like, like, I'm done with that. I'm here to make my money. He's like, I've never knew a rich man who had could sleep well at night or something like that, or never knew a rich man who didn't lose his soul. And Wyatt Earp's is basically like, fuck you, I'm robbing these people.
He's like, I already lost my soul. It might as well be rich.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what he just did. They're just there to make money and then get out. And of course, they all bring their wives that they've collected over the years and so on like that too. And Kurt Russell's got this wife that he's brought in there who's pretty much just she was an ex-prostitute and now she's just a heroin addict in a sense, or an opium addict.
Right.
Just taking swigs off the bottle of opium, like it's, I got headaches, yeah, sure you do.
I need some laudanum.
Yeah, just going hard at it. So much so that this character in real life even dies like a year after this movie takes place.
Right. But it's one of those things that make me happy. I shouldn't say it makes me happy. This is a really fucked up statement if I said it makes me happy. It's something that makes me laugh because it's like, even back in the 1800s, crazy white women and their fucking drugs, you know what I mean? Laudanum, all the antidepressants and shit.
Well, I feel like in the 1800s, that's when you just have all sorts of drugs being sold and snake oil salesmen and whatnot. You really have no.
Right.
If you don't think you know what you're taking today, you really didn't know what you were taking back in the 1800s.
Right. That's what I learned from Red Dead Redemption. Snake oil salesman.
Yeah, exactly. So you got them there and so on like that. And most of them, they're just kind of there they're sort of there just to be there, The whole point of, Kurt Russell or Wyatt Earp's wife is there, and then they do throw in like this love triangle, which happens in sort of real life, or at least he has those two wives. I don't know if they actually like interconnect like that, or if it's like he was married to one, she died, then he found another one. But this actress comes to town and whatnot, and they go to see this play, and of course they got some guy who's really proud of it, his back east acting and so on like that, and
Billy Zane.
Yeah, Billy Zane shows up there, and of course we never even mentioned the villains, but there's the Cowboys, which is how this movie actually starts off.
The Red Sash Gang, the Red Sash Cowboys.
Yeah, and they got this narrator who sounds kind of almost like Sam Elliot, but it's not Sam Elliot who's doing the narration in the beginning. And
I don't know who the narrator is.
I can't remember. I just know when I saw the credits, I thought it was Sam Elliot narrating it, and then it wasn't. It was somebody else doing the narration. I'll have to even take a look. But so the movie starts off, and it kind of just explains like who the Cowboys were, and they were just these guys that was their name that they used for their gang and so on like that. It went from Cowhand to Cowboys, and it shows kind of some cool old footage. It even shows some of that Thomas Edison, like where that cowboy shoots the screen and everything like that from way back in the day. But it has actually a very hardcore opening, like in a movie where you're either in or you're out. And there's literally this scene like down in Mexico, and I think it's like Federale or some type of police is having a big old wedding and everything like that. I guess if I say Mexico, this could also be like New Mexico or something, so, somewhere down south.
Could have been California.
Yeah, could have been California. Could have been anywhere. And it's 79, and they have this big wedding and everything like that. And they walk on out, and they got the food and everything like there. And old Curly shows up with his gang and whatnot. And he's pretty pissed off that these police officers killed a couple of his guys, and they're not going to stand for it. So they just like literally blow them all away on the wedding day. Just have a murder fest and so on like that. And then they're like, cool, there's food and everything like that. So they just sit down. They're like, nice and warm already. And then the Padre comes out and whatnot saying that, you're going to bring on the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Well, blah, 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 blah. God is it. Bam! All right, shut that guy up real quick. Tombstone.
Well, it also, like, in a way, sets up Curly, and then it also sets up Johnny Ringo.
Yeah,
Michael. Where Johnny Ringo's like, where he's like, he says a pale horse. I can't remember exactly what it is, but he quotes the Bible.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it's so badass. It's just
It immediately establishes the bad guys, and you're like, okay, then bad.
Yeah, exactly. Got them. They'll show up on a wedding day, kill everybody, not a problem, and then eat their food to top it off.
Because in a way, it kind of the line gets a little blurred once the Earps start, enacting their version of justice in Tombstone. I mean, if I was a member of that town or had to go into that town, they're like, hey, homie, you can't bring your rifle and pistol in with you in this town. You gotta turn them into the sheriff. I'd be like, are you fucking kidding me, bitch? Who the fuck are you?
Yeah, could become a whole communist country before you know it.
Next thing you know, you're going to tell me that I have to wear a seatbelt when I'm driving, and I can't have a cold one after a long, hard day working a shift at the lumber mill.
If I can't have my gun, a cold one, and I have to wear a seatbelt, well, this ain't America.
This ain't America. But pretty soon we's going to be communists over here.
That's like 2 steps away, but like it is kind of one of those ones where, there becomes these waves, and I was even kind of reading just a little bit of the history right before we started doing this, because they say it's like in the movie they kind of make those guys pretty black and white, that they are kind of Johnny Ringo and Curly, they're pretty bad and so on like that. But I think in real life that gang was kind of like a mixed match where it's like, well, they're kind of bad, but they're kind of a lot of blue collar worker guys who just felt a little bit mistreated, and it had those waves of gray in between.
Yeah, they were cowboys was like a derogatory term back in the day, but they were working probably like moving cattle across the prairie, driving cattle. Perfect example is the movie Open Range, where Kevin Costner and Robert Duvall are moving through there, and like some people are fucking like horrible to them, just like, you fucking free grazers riding around here thinking the whole country's yours, you fuckers.
Yeah, that's kind of how it is. It's like at this point that they sort of like are almost like forced into sort of almost like outlawism just for the fact that almost like
right.
So,
and they got deputized by like the sheriff or whoever the local law was.
Oh,
at least it seemed. Well, they were hanging out with law enforcement for Tombstone. It got a little weird.
Well, because that's the weird thing too, is there is like, okay, so there is law in town, and there's a couple. There's like a marshal guy. There's like a U.S. marshal. There's a sheriff. Right. There's a little bitch boy named Billy or whatnot who's
like a deputy.
Yeah, who's like the deputy, who's like, hey, fellas, no.
And they don't like the Earps. They don't like the Earps at all.
No, they don't like them showing up here and everything like that. I think the old man U.S. Marshal's the only one who's like, well, okay, I'm just an old man. I'm 65 years old. I run this town. Yep, everybody listens to my graybeard authority.
Right.
And then God, who is the guy who is? I want to say.
I don't think the marshal's even in Tombstone. I think he's in Phoenix.
Okay, well, maybe the old man is the old man the sheriff. Then am I just
the old man's the marshal that tries to recruit Wyatt Earp as soon as he gets off the train.
Yeah, exactly. Wyatt Earp's like, no, I'm done with that. I'm just here to extort money.
Yeah, and they're not even near Tombstone yet. I guess they're in a whole different place. At least I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but like that's one critique I have of this movie is the locations jump around with like no caption like, hey, you're now in Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah.
Hey, you're now 50 miles outside of Tombstone at a random fucking river.
Yeah, exactly. I think for the most part, though, that they are in Tombstone, like when they're in the town part. It's Wyatt Earp, the Kevin Costner one's the one where it goes through, like, all, because Tombstone in the Wyatt Earp movie is only like 40 minutes of that film. Like, there's like literally all this other story and so on there. I want to say for the most part, but yeah, they are kind of, especially when it gets a little bit later and they're kind of chasing down the gang, they definitely are kind of running back and forth. But I think the core town where that sheriff is and the marshal and all those guys there, and the whole point is that they're like, hey, come, or the old man wants to have him be deputized. Oh, come, you want work here as a sheriff and all kinds of stuff, but of course they're like, no, we're gonna do our own thing, don't you worry about it. We're
here to rip off these cowboys around town.
Yeah, because they really are coming in like almost like it's like mobster villain guys. It's kind of funny how it is. Like, ironically, you think of that as like, okay, those are our four heroes, but like they almost are. They're like dastardly in a different way.
Well, definitely Doc Holliday. I mean, he'd rather rob
like
a fucking poker. He'd rather rob a poker game than lose the poker game.
Yeah, because Doc's like the one where I feel like there's the three brothers and they're kind of on their own, and then Doc's just kind of his own kind of guy, but he's almost like the anti-hero where he'll rob a poker game, he'll cheat, he'll talk
shit about Johnny Law, but at the same time pal around with Wyatt Earp.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like he's just the guy who just gets away with a lot of stuff that like nobody else would be able to.
He's dying, and I don't want to arrest him. He's got nothing to lose.
Yeah, they got like literally a derogatory term. I think it's the one that Michael Biehn used. What's it called? Like a lunger? Hey, you lunger?
Yeah, lunger. You lunger.
But yeah, the whole point is whenever Doc Holliday's there, people are getting pissed because he's cheating at cards or something like that. He's got like his Hungarian wife or whatever who's in on it and whatnot, but nobody can ever do anything about
his
it.
Prostitute.
Yeah, he's always like 2 steps ahead of everybody else, and what are they gonna do? Even if he's sick and everything like that, he's still like the fastest draw on anything. Or there's that part too where he's all, I think it's a little bit later in the movie, but they're like, and this guy Doc Holliday over here, he's all drunk up. He's like, I got 2 pistols, one to see both of you.
Yeah. What does he say? He goes, that is, what's his fucking name? We just named him as one of the greatest Western actors, Thomas Haden Church. He's like, Doc, you can't even see straight, or you've probably seen double. You're so drunk. He's like, I have 2 pistols, one for each of you.
Yeah, exactly. So, but what it kind of happens is as time goes on, there's all this like havoc going on, and people are just getting like robbed and shot up and so on like that. And the whole time, Kurt Russell's like, nope, don't do anything, fellas, don't worry. But all of a sudden, Sam Elliot gets a conscious about it, and he's like, he saves a little boy from almost getting ran over from the group of the cowboys running in, and for some reason that he saves the boy. He sees the mom who's got this big old scar down her eye and everything like that, and he feels like, what, I gotta go get deputized.
I'm Sam Elliot, and I have to do something.
Yeah, there was a boy that almost died today, and they're cutting women's eyes out.
I earned this mustache, and I gotta keep it.
Yeah, that's like
that doesn't make any sense.
I feel like this movie's all the one too that like 2 people came in with mustaches and everybody else is like, well, I gotta have a mustache too, like because almost nobody. Right. It's weird when there's like only a couple characters that don't have a mustache in this movie.
Oh man, now I need to look up some screenshots.
Because even Charlton Heston has a mustache. Well, Powers Boothe has like a exaggerated mustache, but he's got one.
Doc Holliday has the perfect mustache for Doc Holliday.
He's got the little mustache, a little wispy one. Of course, everybody's got their own variation of a mustache going here. I think Thomas Haden Church is one of the few that doesn't. And Billy Bob Thornton doesn't either, but he's got
he got like a beard.
Yeah. But it feels like it's one of those ones where like everybody's like you know what? If he's gonna have a mustache, I'm gonna have a mustache. Let's just all go in all on the mustache.
Gosh dang it, we all got to get mustache. Bill Paxton probably showed up and he's like, oh, fuck, I ain't in this movie for very long. I better start growing it because I'm going to die soon.
Yeah, exactly. So, you got that there. But, once Sam Elliot decides he's going to get deputized, of course, he gets Bill Paxton in on it instantaneously, too. And then when Kurt Russell finds it.
Michael Rooker, clean shaven.
Yes, Michael Rooker, I guess he is clean shaven. It's like one of the.
That's okay. He dies too.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like it's weird because it's like they sort of forcefully all get kind of involved as time goes on, even though they didn't really want to.
Yep. They got to give up the mafia lifestyle and they got to put the badge back on.
Yeah, because I want to say like their whole idea was like we're gonna buy this building, turn it to a gambling hall. get all the money we possibly can out of these people, sell it at a high price, and then ixnay out of here.
Yeah, basically. It was a get rich scheme.
Yeah,
that was the whole point of them showing up there.
Yeah, that they were just gonna run this big Ponzi scheme. You know what I mean? They're gonna be like the Enron of like Tombstone.
And the gunfight at the OK Corral, they instigated that gunfight.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, they were just like, okay, yeah, they broke the rule of carrying guns in town.
Yeah, the rule that Sam Elliot set up.
Yeah, which is a fucked up rule. Like, I get it, why he made it. But, me in the position of not a law enforcement person, I would be like, fuck you, bro.
Well,
this is Tombstone.
Really, the thing that kind of put the nail in the coffin was that old Curly came out of the bar drunk one night and just decided, you know what would be fun to do? Let's get high on, or no, he comes out of the opium den. That's what happened. So he's all hopped up on drugs, and it's just the funny thing. Once again, they blame the guns, not the drugs.
Right. Or the person.
Yeah, because he literally comes out, he just starts shooting away like he's seeing shit and blowing things.
He's shooting at the moon, literally.
Shooting at the moon. Yeah, Zach, literally shooting at the moon, shooting at everything he can. The whole town empties out, and then the old U.S. Marshal's like, well, I guess I got to go out and do something about it. And Kurt Russell's like, yeah, fuck it, don't do anything, just let him be, whatever. Like, he's still not getting involved. I love it. Like, Curly could be out there just shooting the whole town up, and Kurt Russell's like, nope, not gonna get involved.
Hey, he hit my gambling den. We're good.
Yeah. So, old man,
you all sit there and you keep fucking betting.
Yeah, he locks the fucking saloon.
Right. Cocks his little sawed-off shotgun under the table, be like, you will play another hand.
Yeah, exactly. Got two of them almost this time.
Yeah.
But so that U.S. Marshal's like, oh, I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna tell old Curly that it's probably not a good idea to be shooting at nighttime, and maybe
time to go to sleep.
Yeah, so he goes out there, shows up, and then Curly's like, oh man, don't worry, no worries. He flips the guns up backwards and something like. He's like, I didn't mean to. I was just having a little bit of fun. You're like, well, that's okay. Just give me those guns. And then he does one of those where he goes up and just shoots him like upside down with the gun, right in the heart. Fucking dies there. And there's people standing all around watching it still. I know the most.
I'll say this. Curly Bill seemed genuinely upset a little bit. He was like, oh no.
Yeah, I think it was one of the ones. It was just in the moment. And once again, he was hopped up on opium.
Yep. Drugs are bad.
Yeah, drugs bad, okay. Make you shoot a town up. Make you shoot out Tombstone. But lo and behold, it's like, okay, like he literally kills this U.S. Marshal. There was obviously witnesses there, but they pull one of those ones like, well, there wasn't really much to see, so we didn't have a definitive answer, so I can't arrest him. Got a dead body with a bullet hole in him, but that's not good enough.
Right.
So he just gets out scot-free, whatever.
I know. This is absolutely crazy. It wasn't his fault. It was the drugs, okay, guys?
He was on opium. Well, yeah, it's just so, if we're not, well, then I guess we should get rid of the opium den. Whoa, not the opium dens. Okay, well, if it's not the opium dens, it's the guns. It's one or the other. Well,
right.
I guess take away the guns then.
Even when they first show up, what are their names? I think it's like Pecos Bill and Texas Pete. Two homies of Wyatt Earp. Yeah, they fucking gun somebody down in the street. And then they're just like, they kill him. The marshal's like, hey, boys, that was not right to do. He's like, nope, he called me a cheater, so I fucking killed him.
I was in the right.
Hey, Wyatt, how you doing, brother?
Yeah, that U.S. Marshal guy is like not doing it real, like he's just like, hey, boy, just what are you gonna do about it?
Right. Damn, I can't find their names. I'm pretty sure it's Pecos Bill and Texas Pete.
Yeah, I do remember the Texas Pete. Because I believe...
this is going to upset me. Because every time I hear it, it makes me laugh. And I'm like, I forget there's names like that.
Oh, there's Texas Jack I see here. Maybe this Texas.
Oh, Texas Jack.
Yeah, I think that might be it. But yeah, it's like one of those ones. So yeah, that U.S. Marshal's not.
I typed in Pecos Bill, and it's a fantasy character from like a cartoon. It's something like that. It's some weird ass names. I'm just saying.
Yeah, everybody's got their kind of nicknames back then and whatnot. But yeah. So this is where we get to the point where guns have been taken away. Sam Elliot puts up signs. You know what I mean? I think at this point it's only Sam and Bill Paxton who are the sheriffs. So far, Kurt Russell's not involved yet.
He's very upset. He wants to keep the racket going.
Yeah, the racket going. He's like, you guys are ruining a good thing here, you know? And then he's even pissed as he has to give up his guns because, you know, everybody has to. And it's like those ones like, you just can't carry a gun in town, which it's like, I guess you just drop them off at the sheriff's place, you know what I mean? There's a brand new business that has to happen where you have to take in people's, you know, guns and have them like, you know.
Probably owned by the Earps.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the check station and so on like that. And everybody's so pissed about not being able to have their guns anymore, you know. Because, yeah, if you can't have a gun while you're drinking, like, you know, what's the point?
Yeah, how un-American. I love when the dude flashes his gun. He's like, I'll be seeing you, Wyatt. And he like flashes his pistol. Wyatt just pulls it out and hits him with it. I fucking love that part.
Yeah.
Give me it.
He just fucking clubs him in the face. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, thanks for showing me.
It's mine now, bitch.
So yeah, by this point now the Cowboys are kind of pissed, and now there's this sort of standoff and so on. And I think this is what leads us into the OK Corral thing, because that's almost like halfway to the movie, that battle, you know. And
right,
that's the one where, you know, they just get word that there's a bunch of the Cowboys over there and stuff. So they fucking storm on over there, 4 guys, you know, and kind of incite this gunfight, you know, and just blast the living daylights. And this thing lasted for 30 seconds, just like it did in real life, except for the movie, it feels a little bit even longer, you know. And they start blowing apart these guys. They shoot up Thomas Haden Church. I think it's actually Val Kilmer that shoots Thomas Haden Church, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
And the funny thing, too, is at this point,
Val Kilmer kills a lot of people in that fucking gunfight.
Yeah, he kills a lot of people, and he's not deputized. He's he's just literally, like, doing it on his own, like, accord, you know.
Everyone's just okay with it. They're like, yeah, well, yeah. Okay.
So they have...
At least he's not playing poker with me.
Yeah, it's probably like, you know, he's actually safer when he's killing people.
Yeah. My wallet isn't hurting right now, so it's okay. I'll deal with it.
Yeah, well, those ones, you know. But so they blast the living daylights out of it. They shoot this place up and everything like that. But they don't get any of the main guys. They don't get Ringo. They don't get Curly. They don't get any of that stuff. But they take out Thomas Haden Church. There's that one like guy who always goes back and forth between like he'll do something real terrible and they'll be like, "I'm sorry, Wyatt. I'm sorry." And then like like Wyatt will be like, "Oh, that's okay." The guy turns his back and he's grabbing a gun again. And it's like, that son of a bitch. And he finally gets blasted, so it's okay. Because he does it like 3 times in this movie.
I fucking hate that guy so much.
Yeah.
Is it Billy? Is his name Billy?
No, because I think Billy's the kid. Or no, when I say the kid, I mean Billy's the deputy kid who's like, "Oh man, like, you know, we gotta take care of this. I don't like the Wyatt Earp guys. It's like they're, you know, they're pretty much Judge Dredding this out here."
Right.
They're not going by the book.
I mean, and then after they kill him at the OK Corral and they have their funeral procession and they have the big old banner where it says like "murdered on the streets of Tombstone," you're kind of like, I mean, the cops kind of did just show up and were like, "Fucking give us your guns or else," and like it gave them almost no choice.
Yeah, that was it. Because there's even the part too where there's that other sheriff who just like does nothing in like Tombstone, but he shows up there. He's like, "Well, you know, I think I need to arrest you, Wyatt," you know, and everything like that, you know, and then Wyatt Earp's like, "Hey, you're not arresting us." He's like, "Oh, sorry, we'll think about it another way."
Oh fuck!
he talked back to me.
Yeah, looks at Doc Holliday, who's just looking at him like me. Oh no! Come out of here.
Here, you know what? Let me see your gun. Let me see what's right here. Well, bam!
Yeah.
You go back to your room. Oh, okay, you go back there.
You're gonna come back and you're gonna gamble at my table, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh man,
You're
damn it, Wyatt, I don't want to.
You're gonna gamble till you got no more pants on, because that's how much you've lost.
Oh no, Wyatt.
That sheriff guy is the most useless. He does nothing. He's like,
right.
That's why this town is in dismay, is because he just stands around and just he just. I don't know what he does. I don't even know what he's done. He's just there to be in the way of everybody else.
I don't know. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. But so that spurns the Red Sash gang, the Cowboys, basically the snipe Bill Paxton. And did they shoot Sam Elliot? Like they jacked Sam Elliot up. I know that much.
Yeah, we never know, because there's this real rainy, stormy day, and they got this lightning going down and everything like that. So you know something ominous is coming by. Kurt Russell's eating chopsticks. You know, and for some reason they got some late night takeout Asian food.
Right. From the opium den.
Yeah, exactly. You know, him and Doc Holliday are there. There's this dog that's only in this one scene. That's what I always think about in this movie. This dog is not in any other scene in this movie. I don't know whose dog this is, but all of a sudden there's just a random dog. Maybe they saved it from the Chinese opium den. Never see this dog before, never see this dog after. But for some reason, there's dog and Chinese food all at the same time. I'm just saying.
It's kind of a coincidence if we're going to be honest.
It's 1800s, so you know. So you know shit's gonna go down, and for some reason the ladies are all at home alone, whatnot, hanging out, drinking some opium and whatnot. And one of them is. Yeah, one of them is. We know that for sure. And they see like the shadow or whatever come the way. They're like, oh, it's just Virgil. It's just Sam Elliot, whatever. Just let him on it. Or no. First comes by is which we never really talked a whole lot about her, I guess. But the other chick that like Wyatt's been hanging out with, the theater chick,
Oh, yeah.
Who's pretty much trying to tell Wyatt, like, he's like, is this what you really want? Do you just want to settle down and have a family? And Wyatt's like, yeah, that sounds great. Have a family, settle down, run my gambling den. It's like, it's what I've always wanted. She's like, are you sure? Or
hang out with my drugged out wife?
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? She's just pretty much popping pills like, all day while I'm at work, and wondering where I am late at night. I'm like, I run a gambling den. Like, I don't come home till 4. Jesus, Doc Holliday was gambling for 36 hours straight.
Yeah, right.
At one point. So the theater chick is pretty much just kind of telling him, like, hey, there's a big world out there. You could be on an adventure. You could be at a hotel every night ordering room service. Think about that. And he's like, right. That's a pretty good idea, He even goes home and tells his wife, he's like, hey, how does hanging out at a hotel and ordering room service sound? She's like, the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. I
was just thinking, And she's all
sounds fun.
Yeah. Well, whatever. Back to that stormy night. The girls are hanging out. The theater chick busts in and everything like that. And you could tell the girls like, oh, it's that theater chick that Wyatt's hanging out. Blah, 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 blah.
It's that slut.
Yeah. But she goes... she's like, oh no, the guys are running crazy, like something's going down, and everything like that, And then of course there's another shadow that comes by. She's like, oh, it's Virgil. Don't worry. She's like, no, open the door. And then and I think it just literally hard cuts. We don't really see what goes on. Goes back, and I think maybe this is Virgil left or whatnot. But then he comes back into the bar where Doc and Wyatt are, and all of a sudden he's just bleeding out from his arm, and he falls over the bar and everything like that. We don't really know what happens, but his arm's all like torn up. So I don't know if he just got like a drive-by stabbing or something like that. Maybe he got
he got hit with a shotgun or something. I don't know.
Just got blown in the arm.
He got fucked up because his arm never worked right again.
No, never did. And even in real life, that was it. He became a one-armed guy. He became a one-armed sheriff, though, later on, I think, California, past Tombstone. But so he's pretty much, disabled from this point.
Where's that movie?
Yeah, that sounds badass. Yeah, and I want Sam Elliot to play it, too. Still.
100%.
A follow-up.
80-year-old. Yeah, I want 80-year-old Sam Elliot playing a one-armed sheriff.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's go.
Why not? So, and then I think at this point too, so we don't see Sam Elliott's character get hit, but then I guess
I want to say Michael Rooker comes. Doesn't Michael Rooker come by and he was like before that, and he was like,
oh, we don't want a part of this.
Yeah, we don't want any part of this. And then they're like you are a part of this. And he's like, not after tonight. Or he's like, what made you turn on your friends? And he's just like, there ain't my friends. Not after tonight.
Yeah, they throw their sashes down.
Maybe that's after everything goes down.
I think that's after Sam Elliott gets shot, though. It's either that or it's after Bill Paxton, because that happens like right after.
Right.
Whatever. The next thing, is they're playing pool and Bill Paxton gets blasted through the window and whatnot like that. And,
right.
And for some reason, this dog's still there and it's barking up a storm. And I want to say,
right.
That's why it's all tied in the same scene, because it's the only time that dog's there.
They get old Pax right in the spleen.
Yeah, they get him
right in his peen. He got depleened.
Yeah, exactly. And he's bleeding out on the pool table and everything like that. There's nothing they can do. And, Bill Paxton's even talking about, he's like, remember when we were talking about death earlier? And I said there's a white light? He's like, I don't see a white light. And then he kind of fades off into the distance. Right. You just know it. Once again, it's Bill Paxton, so he's not gonna make it. That's always the sad part about when I see Bill Paxton in a movie. I know that something's gonna get him.
Right.
Except for the tornado. Apparently, Bill Paxton can outrun a tornado.
He can.
So he's got that, but Bill Paxton, he's the one that kind of dies off right here. He sets the.
And what a shame we don't have Bill Paxton with Twisters came out and now Twisters 2 is being made. It's like, God damn it! If there was ever a time where we need Bill Paxton.
I know, exactly. It's such a bummer.
I know. It makes me sad.
It is, but his death is what sets off this whole kind of, in a sense, revenge spree. So, they get to the point where they're like, you know what? If we're gonna have action, we gotta get the skirts out of here. We're gonna send Sam Elliott there. He's disabled and whatnot. We'll put him on a train and everything like that, and send him off to wherever the heck they go to. I think they go back to Colorado or something like that.
Right. Wyatt has a buttload of cash from doing his mobster duties.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's just ready. He's ready to kill. Yeah, he's ready to kill all kinds of people.
He even shows the train station, and Wyatt already knows shit's gonna go down. And there's like two guys that show up, and they're gonna be like, okay, we're gonna assassinate the Earps right here and whatnot. And Wyatt comes out with the big old double barrel shotgun. He's like, not today! And just blows them down right there at the fucking train station. So waves off the family afterwards.
Right. The snivelly guy doesn't get fucking schwacked right away. He cuts him with his spur and then delivers the awesome line, you tell him I'm coming and hell's coming with me.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, because that guy still fucking survives. That guy's always surviving.
He survives till the end, bro.
Yeah, he does. He goes forever.
I think he survives the entire thing because he lets go of his sash and just rides off.
Yeah, I don't think he even dies. Yeah, so he's just a constant problem for everybody the whole time. Just this character can't hold his liquor. Talks smack. Can't
be in a gunfight.
Yeah, runs away, says he's not gonna fight, then comes back and tries a cheap shot. Yeah, the most untrustworthy guy, and somehow, some way, he makes it all the way. Literally, even to, I guess, makes it to the credits and everything like that. Son of a bitch.
But that's what sets up, basically, Wyatt taking a badge, immediately deputizing everybody other than Doc Holliday. He's like, I don't need a badge. Who's gonna fucking arrest me?
Literally, yeah. He's like, it doesn't matter because I got literally probably the doctor just told me I have 2 months or 2 years.
Right. He don't care.
Yeah,
he doesn't care.
Because there's that part to where he's sitting there, he's like, he's in bed and everything like that after he has like a tuberculosis, cough where it turns into blood. And then the doctor's all, well, you got 2 months, 2 years, and well, you probably should stop the smoking, you probably should stop the gambling, you gotta stop the drinking. And he's just like, fuck you, you get out of here, I'll do whatever I want. And then his lady comes by, lights a cigarette. 2 seconds after the guy's like, hey, you should stop that smoking, she lights a cigarette, gives it the dog. He's gonna go out like a badass.
I love the Doc Holliday part where I can't remember which one, which dude he's gonna kill, but they're just like I'm gonna kill you, Doc Holliday. And he's like, you're a daisy if you do. The first time he says it,
yep,
I love it. But that terminal diagnosis does not stop Doc Holliday. He doesn't take the badge, but he's down for some killing.
Yeah,
because Pecos Bill. I'm gonna keep calling him Pecos Bill. I don't give a fuck. It just sounds right. And Texas Jack. They join up. And then what's Michael Rooker's character's name? He also joins.
Yeah, he does.
Sherman McMaster.
Yeah, old Sherman there. Old Sherman,
right?
Shows up.
But I mean, it's just 5 of them versus the entire Red Sash gang.
Yeah, because this is literally like the second half of the movie too, where just like they just start going off and like we're gonna check these guys.
That's where the killing happens.
Yeah.
OK Corral's pretty crazy, but I mean, this part is where like it gets nasty.
Yeah, because they're just chasing them around and so on like that. They're fine. They're tracking them down. They're taking out guys. They even have that. They have that shootout scene when they're at the river and whatnot, where they finally find Curly.
Yeah. No.
He just walks up there like bullets won't even harm Kurt Russell.
Right, dude. The most fucked up scene in this whole movie. And Wyatt just doesn't care anymore. When they fucking basically murdered the dudes in the opium den.
Oh yeah.
He sticks his gun barrel down there. The dude thinks it's the pipe. Puts his mouth on it. And then it cuts to Wyatt's face and he fucking shoots him like that. It's like, God damn.
It does. It gets so brutal to the point where like then you got like the deputy Billy and stuff. He's like, well, this is starting to get out of hand. I think we got to call in some other law enforcement officers and take care of this.
They're not even arresting people. They're just fucking gunning them down.
Exactly.
They could have arrested those 2 guys in the opium den. They could have arrested them.
They were literally docile.
Yeah. But they're like, no. Which whatever. I'm cool with. I don't give a shit.
No,
but I think it's funny.
I like that Judge Dredd type of law.
Yeah. I'm fine with it, but I just think it's hilarious because those are the good guys. You know what I mean? It's like.
Well, it's weird. They're the good guys, but the more I think about it throughout the entire movie, they're not really ever doing anything that great.
No.
They're just extorting this town for business, and then they take up the guns, and then it's like they get more into almost like, oh, you shot our brother? Well, guess what? Now you're all fucking gonna die.
You're all fucking dead now.
So they just go on this blasting spree, and it's kind of interesting too because one thing I think is cool is because you think of Powers Boothe as Curly being the main villain this whole time, ever since the very beginning of the movie, ever since he shoots up that wedding and everything like that.
He kind of is.
He is, but then he's taken out though at that river scene.
Right.
Like, oh shit! And then it kind of puts it that like, oh, I guess the main villain of this whole movie is literally Ringo. Yeah, Michael Biehn's character. So I think that's kind of a cool little, like, almost like twist where you would not expect that. It's like, oh, the guy who you think is just the second hand guy is now the guy in charge, and he's going to be the main, one here.
Right.
And as they go through this, Val Kilmer's character, Doc Holliday, he goes down. He goes down. He's trying to be there the whole time. He's like, why, that's my only friend, so I make sure that I come out no matter what.
Oh yeah, I love that part where he's like, what? I think Michael Rooker's like, why are you doing this, Doc? Like, you should be in bed or something like that. And he was like, like, I'm helping my friend. And Michael Rooker's like, like, I have lots of friends. I wouldn't be doing this. And Doc Holliday responds with, I don't.
Yeah, I like that. Like, well, that's good for you.
I don't. Doc Holliday's seriously every single scene where Doc Holliday is chewing up the dialogue and the scenery in the film is gold. We didn't talk about the bar scene or the saloon scene where they come in and Johnny Ringo's trying to bait Doc Holliday into a fight, and Doc Holliday is basically giving back shit talk at like the most dismissive. Like, I can't think of any other way. Like, if I was going to like start a fight with somebody, you know what I mean? And I'm talking shit, right? Like, I'm bringing it on, and the person's just being super dismissive. Like, oh, it's Johnny Ringo, darling. the fastest hand since Wild Bill. And just the way he delivers it, where it's just like, you fucking like little cocksucker.
Yeah, just these backhanded compliments in a sense.
Yeah, that's Latin, doll. It appears Johnny Ringo was an educated man. Now I really hate him.
Yeah, there's just so
It's
many,
like, what the fuck?
you just could talk so much smack to these guys, and you know, for the most part, if it was anybody else, you'd be like, you're not probably in the right position to be doing this, you know. But Doc Holliday can get away with this, and it just works out.
Well, he doesn't give a fuck. He's super dangerous because he just doesn't care.
No, because he knows he's gonna die, so it doesn't make a difference. If he goes out, it's like, that's okay.
Right.
He literally is someone who has nothing to lose.
Right, 100%. When he's spinning his little tin cup after Johnny Ringo like shows off his skill, and Doc Holliday's like, okay.
Yeah. He's just spinning it back and forth.
But anyways, with that part, setting up the Johnny Ringo versus Doc Holliday, back where it very fucking began.
Yeah.
Doc Holliday goes down. McMaster, Michael Rooker's character, gets dragged behind a horse or something. Like his body was all mangled. Yeah, and they leave him as like the collie side.
They go to Charlton Heston's house or whatever.
Right.
Just happen to run into him, and they're like, "Hey, we got a sick man. Can we leave him here?" He's like, "Oh, it's for the night," you know.
Right.
Which is
fuck off.
Yeah, like back in the day, it's like you think it'd be somebody came by and be like, "Hey, we got this guy who's sick on tuberculosis." Be like, no.
Yeah, go away.
Yeah, leave. Yeah, you know. But so they drop him off there and whatnot like that, and they think it's one of those ones like, oh, it's like, okay, that's it for Doc and so on like that, you know. And Doc goes, "You mind if I hold that badge or whatever? I always wanted to have one of these."
Right. Well, him and Wyatt have that talk where Wyatt's like, you know, I didn't have time to think about gunning down Curly Bill at the river. I just did it. But I've had plenty of time to think about this. And he's like, I can't beat him, can I? And Doc Holliday's like, no, you can't. He's going to fucking kill you.
Exactly. And then that's where, like, even, like, Kurt Russell, like, he gives up the badge because he doesn't need it anymore because, obviously, even, like,
He thinks he's going to die. He thinks it's over.
This is it, you know. He's going to go out, you know, and so on. And this is where Doc pulls a fast one where... Instead, when Ringo thinks he's going to show up to this showdown to finally end all this gang warfare, in a sense, you know, and he's going to battle it out with Wyatt Earp. Lo and behold, you know, old Doc Holliday shows up and goes, "I'm your Huckleberry."
Yeah. The three best lines in the whole movie happen in that one, like basically those scenes right there. The one everybody mispronounces, the "I'll be your huckleberry." He actually says, "I'll be your hucklebearer," which is your pole bearer at your funeral.
Oh.
Yeah. So that's what all those shirts and all the times I fucking said it. I can't remember what I heard. I think it was like Joe Rogan's podcast. He brought it up. And I was like, you son of a bitch. Hucklebearer.
Oh, Huckleberry.
I'll be your hucklebearer.
Interesting.
I'll look it up right now. I'll be your...
Because that would answer a lot, you know. I mean,
yes. Because it didn't make any fucking sense. Hucklebearer, basically meaning I'll be the one to carry you to the grave.
Which makes way more sense. Because if not, it just sounds kind of
so much more sense.
It just sounds like kind of almost like some kind of like gay threat.
Tuberculosis fever dream talk.
That makes so much more sense now that you say that.
Right. So he delivers that line, "I'll be your hucklebearer," and Johnny Ringo's like, "Oh fuck, Doc Holliday." And then Doc Holliday, the best line in the entire movie, out of all the lines. Are you looking it up right now?
Well, I see on here, and for some reason it's trying to tell me that the actual line is I'm your huckleberry, not hucklebearer, but the mix-up is a super common because of how Val Kilmer says it.
Right.
In 19th century slang, a huckleberry meant someone perfect for the job. I'm the man you're looking for. Some believe it might also be a reference to being a pallbearer. I'll carry you to your grave. That's where the misheard hucklebearer idea comes from. Poetic either way. Strange. So
I think it's hucklebearer.
I like that one. Though I feel
because it makes more sense.
He does that feels right for the first time he says it. The second time he says it, it does kind of come across with an E ending like huckleberry.
Well, yeah. No, I mean, I still, when I listen to it, it sounds like Huckleberry. But I mean, that's also what I thought he said the entire, ever since a child watching this film.
Yeah. I do like the
anyways,
I like the idea of taking, that sounds more like.
I like how it's a debate and nobody's been like, no, here's the script.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like, yeah, here we go. Just all you gotta do is pull that out.
Yeah, here's the fucking script, guys. But, you know, without that, we don't really know what he says. But anyways, you got that line. Yeah. One of the best lines. The number one fucking line in the entire goddamn movie is when Johnny Ringo's looking scared, right? And Doc Holliday looks at him and he goes, wow, Johnny Ringo, looks like somebody just walked over your grave.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, fuck. That's the best one, dude. Every time he says that, I'm just like, oh, silence.
So exactly, and old Johnny Ringo gets a good death right there.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. I always think it's funny when I rewatch it. He's like, "Come on, come on." He falls. You're no Daisy. You're no Daisy.
Yeah, he's got a big old hole in his head and everything like that.
Right, right. I mean that is the greatest line, like one of the best Western lines of all time.
Just one of the best like endings too, right there. Just that little snap it scene right there is just so good, so iconic. And just the fact that like, yeah, you don't think, because, you know, it's like you think that that's it for Doc Holliday. You know, he's bedridden and everything like that. Charlton Heston's like, Jesus, this guy's never gonna. He's just gonna die in my room. I let him stay for one night.
Right.
He'll be here for the next 2 months, dying away.
Right. It's one of my favorite Western moments. Another one that comes to mind that's just so badass. An open range, right before the big gunfight starts off, and Kevin Costner is like you, the shooter, the guy with the broken arm, and he's like, "Are you the one that shot our friend?" And he like smiles at his friends. He's like, "I am." He's like, "I did shoot your friend. And I shot your dog too, and the little Mexican boy." And Kevin Costner's walking up while he's talking. He's all smiles and just domes him from like 5 feet away. Just drops him. Everybody's like, "Oh shit!"
Oh man, yeah.
Fucking love it.
But yeah. But just like that, Johnny Ringo's taken out, you know, you have that epic finale right there and so on like that, puts a whole end to it. And then I think what it does next is that's when it cuts to when Doc Holliday's at like the
sanitarium
hospital type thing in Colorado for some weird reason. So he got tuberculosis. I thought the whole point was he's going down south to get away from like the humidity, and then somehow, some way they've dragged him back up to it. And
let's drag you up to elevation, son. Well, there's low parts of Colorado, like not very low, but
that's true. And
deserty parts.
It's only technically a hop, skip, and a jump away from Arizona,
right?
Sort of. It's not like it's ridiculously far if you're in southern Colorado. So he's there. Wyatt comes to visit him there, and Doc kind of knows that this is the end. You know what I mean? Like, and Wyatt's been coming by playing.
This is the end.
Yeah, beautiful friend, the end.
Just his Doors movie playing on repeat.
Exactly. You know, and he doesn't want to play cards with him anymore and anything like that. He just wants him to go on. He's like, go marry that. You know, go chase with that theater actor girl. You know what I mean? Like. That one's better for you anyways. I don't even know why you go for the drug.
Fuck her for me!
Yeah, pretty much. And then so he's like, you know what? Okay, Wyatt or Doc, I'll see you around and everything like that. And he takes on off and he goes to do it. And then apparently, just like in real life, apparently this was his last line he was ever known to say as he looks down at his feet, you know, and what does he say? Because he looks down and he expects to die with boots on, and then he sees that his feet are bare, and he's sitting there in the hospital bed, and he's like, well, that was unexpected, or whatever. What does he say? Something like that. But that literally was apparently the last known line that they heard from him in the hospital.
This is funny.
Yeah,
I'll be damned. I'll be damned.
Yeah.
In the movie, it's I'll be damned.
Yeah. So apparently that was, I think this is funny. was what he said in real life. So it's pretty much the same thing. But the fact that like that, yeah, he expected to have his boots on, and he made it all the way without that. You know, no matter what, he still didn't get taken down by a gun.
Right.
And sadly enough, as I was looking up the real life, I said, yeah, Doc Holliday passed away at 36, right there.
So sad.
Yeah, you know.
But he probably wouldn't have been such a badass if he never got tuberculosis.
No, because I think that's the thing is you need that little bit of like, you know, like it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like I literally could care less. You know what I mean? I've got,
right.
You know, I'm going to die anyways, so I'm going to go full steam ahead. And I think that's what does make him such a badass and what made him kind of be able to do all the things he could do, you know? And even the smoking and the drinking and everything like that probably wasn't going to, you know, yeah, shaves off maybe 6 months, but probably not by a whole lot. Like no matter what, there was nothing that was going to help him. Not that time.
Right. Period. No, that's a fucked up way to go.
Yeah, so that gets him. Strangely enough, though,
it kind of makes you think too. Like maybe it would be better to die in a gunfight.
Yeah, exactly. Because that could be kind of painful the farther and farther that gets in there. Because they just make your lungs just start getting weaker and weaker, and you just have a hard time breathing. You're getting those night sweats. You get all kinds.
You basically suffocate to death.
Yeah, you know. So I think that's probably what he was looking for. Is just, you know, if he gets taken down in a gunfight, at least the pain will be over. It'd be like it's like the Doors. If I die, the pain will be over.
Oh God! Every time I think of the Doors movie, I just think of when he jumps on the car. I am the Lizard King.
Yeah, exactly.
What is it? What is that whole line? I am the Lizard King.
King. I can do anything.
Yeah.
He's just right outside the Whiskey A Go-Go in Los Angeles.
That's such a trippy movie, dude. When they go do peyote out in the desert.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And then I always think of the Wayne's World 2 scene that's like that.
Dude, when I was working at the Indian casino in town, in Tuolumne, I remember I was standing next to this old Indian dude who worked there. I won't name him. But, you know, at one point, very high up in the tribe, but now he just like works as a security guard at the casino.
Uh-huh.
And we're talking about drugs, like just like on the res or something like that. And he just like randomly goes like, take 1 peyote, feel funny. Take 10 peyote. You see odd things. Take 100 peyote. You talk to God. And I just look at him and I was like, what? It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. It's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about, bro?
Especially the way that he said that is he said it like almost like you would expect an old Native American to say in a movie, like, you take 1 peyote, feel nothing. Take 10, you know, start to feel funny. Take 1.
Yeah. He definitely didn't say it. He didn't say it like some movie native at all.
Like it's like 1950s.
He was also like the worst employee ever. Like he would find money on the ground and he'd be like, oh, he'd pick it up. He'd sit down at a machine while on the clock and just start gambling.
He probably was like, this is faster to return it this way.
This is my casino.
Yeah. I am the Coyote King. I can do anything.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, then okay, Wyatt or Doc passes away, but Wyatt Earp actually goes on for like a long rest. He lives for like
1923 or something like that.
Yeah, and the thing too is like in all the early Hollywood like westerns and so on of like the 10s and 20s and so on like that, he was literally like the guy that they called upon to be like, hey, how does this look accurate wise and so on like that, you know? So he helped out like a bunch of those early days like movies and so on.
Yeah, his woman. Oh my God, where he's like, I don't have nothing I could give you. I don't have a house. I don't have a horse. I don't have any money. And she's like, why? My family's rich. Look on his face is like, thank God I left that bitch.
And then my favorite part too, because it's like they're dancing, like you're like, I could give you the one dance that you didn't get before. I know what you asked for and you want to dance and I didn't give it to you, so let's just dance in the snow. And then it kind of pans out and then it starts doing the credit thing where it tells you what happened to everybody and so on like that. And I love it's just like, yeah, it's like Wyatt Earp, he was the happiest he's ever been. He had a new wife, and then it goes like, the other wife, yeah, 1 year later, she died of a drug overdose. Fucking whore.
Yeah, right.
It's like 2 steps away from that, and then that's when it tells you the other things too. Like you learn that, Sam Elliot's character and whatnot became the one-armed lawman of California or whatever he was, and yeah, it just goes through the rest of those things there. And then of course, yeah, Wyatt Earp and his long career that carries on afterwards and so on. And I guess he's with the theater chick. It makes sense that they would eventually go to California and just turn in the movies next. She probably was really forward thinking on that stuff when you think about it.
Probably. Oh, dude. Speaking of her, I love the part when Billy Zane dies. Mm-hmm. We don't see it happen, but she's just cradling him. And she's like, "You're all ugly, and he was beautiful."
Oh, yeah.
And I laugh. This is fucked up. I laugh because I'm like, you're right. Billy Zane was once beautiful. Now he's fucking weird looking. This sums up his whole career.
Yeah, right here. By that scene.
He was beautiful. And then he did the Phantom.
Yeah, that was it. So, yeah, Billy Zane here is definitely... Yeah, he tried to bring theater to them, but when they show up and they do that one play and whatnot like that, and you just have the audience where they literally have guns where they can shoot them straight up, whenever they feel like it. Like I feel like at the end of the day, it's like whenever people keep shooting holes into your ceiling and everything like that, it's gotta be such a pain in the ass for a business. Be like, dude, I gotta patch that up when it rains.
God damn it, fellas.
It's just shoot them at the ground or something like this. Don't shoot them up in the air.
I'm gonna give you this thing. It's called a fucking hand clapper. You just clap it. Just shake it like this. Yeah, that's all your boys need to do.
That's probably why cap guns were invented realistically. Be like, we just need to give them something because they want something to shoot. They don't actually care about the bullet part necessarily. They like the sound.
Wow, Billy Zane is in the Memphis Belle. I don't remember that.
I don't think I've never seen that before.
I know, that's one of the movies we talked about.
Huh.
The picture is too small. I can't see.
But yeah, well, and that pretty much there is all of the gloriousness of Tombstone, and especially for Val Kilmer and everything like that. This role, he just
right.
It's one of those. He's charming as all can be, and it's the one too. It's where I think about like, Dennis Quaid playing Doc Holliday just literally 1 year apart from this, and he really goes to town on that role too, pretty hard. But it's that charm that Val Kilmer brings to it is just something else.
He was one of a kind. And like for real, one of my favorite movies, The Ghost in the Darkness.
Yep.
Completely different type of role. He plays a very straight, normal character, but it's like there's nothing Val Kilmer's in where he's not good. All the way from real genius to fuck. Yep, great. His last performance in Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, he still was fantastic in that, It was just that's like the tearjerker scene almost of the movie and whatnot.
Right. And he can't even fucking talk. Motherfucker can't talk.
Yeah, and he's in there, he still delivers it. Him and Maverick become good buddies, as time goes on and everything like that. Also, The Island of Dr. Moreau, I really like him in that, too. That's like one of those movies that gets, like, mixed reviews, but I think that movie's fucking great.
His character in MacGruber.
Yeah, there we go. Because, there's that time period in the 2000s, like, because where Val kind of disappeared for, like, a bit where, he was getting kind of... it happens to, like, a lot of actors where they start to be, like, they were the big guys. Same thing happened to Nicolas Cage, and they start kind of getting to sometimes, like, B-roll type stuff and so on.
Right.
Not saying they're not still decent movies, but, they start to kind of get in about that section. But
well, he was also strange. Anything you read on Val Kilmer was, like, he was, like, the opposite of, like, the typical Hollywood celebrity.
Yeah.
Like, he truly was a freak.
Yeah. He did there was a lot of odd things where like Val Kilmer would do, and you're like, oh, okay, that's interesting. You know, whatever. I'll still go see this movie, so I don't care.
Yeah, it's like naming like his top movies. Some of my favorite movies of all time: Batman Forever, my favorite of the old Batmans. Heat, one of the greatest heist movies of all time.
Yeah, good old ensemble piece too.
Oh, it's so good. She has a great ass.
That's my favorite part of the movie.
I love it, dude. I love Al Pacino. Al Pacino's the best character in that movie.
He's really the one chewing scenery in that movie. I feel.
Oh, it's so good.
They just let him fucking run with it. Val Kilmer's playing a little bit more of the straight role in that one.
Yeah,
he's got good long hair in there and everything like that too, and whatnot.
And it's the perfect De Niro role. Like De Niro when he gets to be that, you know, bad guy, fucking criminal character like that. That's De Niro at his best, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
The Doors movie, I don't even like the fucking Doors. The Doors music to me, I fucking hate the Doors. I'm going to be honest. I don't like that band at all. I joke around and I say the best Doors song is The End because it's the end. No more music. No more music by them.
Album, so by that standard, it kind of is.
I know. Shut up. But The Saint, not a bad movie. Ghost in the Darkness, great movie.
Yeah, Ghost in the Darkness, that might be my probably my all-time favorite. And that was the one we were going back and forth on which one we should do, Ghost in the Darkness or Tombstone. And as I said, I was like, I think Tombstone will work for the fact that we want to do a Western anyways. But Ghost in the Darkness is one that I've talked about doing that one on a podcast for a long time. So I think at some point...
We could do it later because I fucking love that movie.
I love that movie so much. Like... Ever since I think I ran across that one. It popped up on TV in like '96 or whatever.
Well, it hits like that childhood fear of a man-eating apex predator, and you're like helpless. You have a gun, but you're still helpless because it has all the fucking tools that evolution has given it, and it's vicious and it's indiscriminate in who it fucking decides to kill.
Exactly.
Like it's the perfect nature horror flick. Like that movie and The Edge are like the two that I think of where I'm just like, God damn, nature's metal, dude. It scares me.
Well, I'm always a big fan of like the kind of like the man versus like, nature or man versus animal type stories. I think that.
Yeah, dude.
I personally think that's the scariest thing. It's like I always wish more video games would always have that in there. I know we've talked about that before, but like, you'll see like for example, like Tomb Raider 1. Lara Croft only fights animals. There's like a couple boss battles that you fight like a guy, but like that's it. You don't battle people or anything like that. You're just battling apes, bears for some strange reason, velociraptors too, but whatever. It comes out of nowhere, but yeah. But still, the thing is like the apes, the wolves, the tigers, all that stuff. That stuff is like I feel is like so much scarier. That's scarier than a monster. That's scarier than a person. All that kind of stuff is when you're just kind of going through a cave and all of a sudden this giant bear comes running at you at full steam and so on like that. But they take that out of video games. And sometimes I think it's because people get a little bit too soft these days. Because there's some video games out there, this bothers me. They'll have modes where they'll be like, you can turn the dogs off so you don't have to shoot them. And I'm sorry, but like, I don't trust somebody who's totally fine of just shooting up a bunch of people, but then has a problem shooting an attacking dog at them. You know what I mean?
Oh God!
Like to me, that scares me more because I'm like, well, wait, that sounds more like a psychopath. You know what I mean? Like,
right?
It's like one of those ones. It's a dog attack. Like I don't know. In 1993, playing Wolfenstein 3D. It bothered me a bit as a kid to shoot the German Shepherds. As I've grown up, that bothers me not at all. Because I go, you know what? I'm fighting for my life to escape out of this castle. I'll shoot anything to get my way out.
Right. Yeah, I have no problem killing a dog.
No, I don't either. It's like,
I don't fucking care.
I actually, in a video game, I
like
look forward
dogs.
to it. I'm like, yeah, and I like dogs. But I'm like, I look forward to, if something's going to attack me, guess what? That's just more of a challenge. It's going. I bought
a pocket knife after I tortured myself watching Instagram Reels, and like my algorithm was so fucked up, it just kept showing dogs attacking kids and people.
Jesus.
And I was like, well, I can't just whip out a gun and just like shoot a dog if it's attacking somebody. I might hit the person. Like that's a hard, like the margin for error.
Tombstone.
Yeah, right. Someone shut that dog up.
Josh, you shot that person. Well, I was trying to shoot the dog. Well, that seems reasonable enough.
I'm on opium. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We've all been there before.
Yeah. We've all gone to the Chinese part of town.
You're ordering some Chinese food. You don't know what you're eating. The next thing you know, you're blowing a guy's gun. What? Yeah, it happens.
Fucking gets weird, man. But
what happens in Chinatown stays in Chinatown.
Val Kilmer's in the Alexander film.
Yes, he is in that. He's not. He's obviously not Alexander, but.
Oh, that's right. He's his dad.
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that.
Pretty good movie. I do dig that one.
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, though. I'm going to bring that up again. That is one of his best roles. He is so fucking fun in that movie.
Yeah, so good.
And also, that's like one of the best, like, Robert Downey Jr. movies, in my opinion.
No, that's a good one there, too, for him. Plus, that's just
2005. When did Iron Man come out?
That's like
2000. And Sherlock Holmes.
7 and 8. So Kiss Kiss Bang Bang kind of falls into Robert Downey Jr.'s era before he was popular again. So that's why that movie's kind of a little bit, I think, underrated, like, in a sense. Like, I think it got popular as time went on, but when it first kind of came out, it was like one of those movies that kind of came and went, you know, decent enough, but just kind of like here and gone.
I kind of wonder if that is kind of what helped him, like, spark up getting into some of these new roles, like these other roles.
I think so, because I think that was the equivalent. The Kiss Kiss Bang Bang for I was going to say Johnny Depp, but not Johnny Depp. For Robert Downey junior was it was kind of like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. That was kind of like the equivalent of that, where that was like the comeback,
right?
You know, and then from there the career kind of goes up, you know.
For Robert Downey Jr., it really goes up. 2005 for Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
He literally only goes to number one.
Yeah, a bunch of nothing in 2006, just small roles, and then Iron Man, Tropic Thunder, in the same year, and then Sherlock Holmes in 2009, and Iron Man 2. It's just fucking madness. Like, you go on from there, it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's funny how you could go from almost like literally it feels like you fell to like a Z actor to all of a sudden you're literally at the tip of the whole thing.
Right. Because his next biggest film, I guess Gothica in 2003, he's got kind of a big role, but I mean, let's be honest, that's a Halle Berry film.
Yeah, that was kind of a flash in the pan movie anyways.
Yeah. So U.S. Marshals, he's like not even in the billing probably.
Yeah, because nobody they just think of Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, it's Tommy Lee Jones and Wesley Snipes.
Yeah, because he's in Natural Born Killers as well too. He plays the detective guy, or not the detective. I think the reporter.
Right in '94.
Again, you don't think of him. You think of Woody Harrelson. You think of Juliette Lewis. You think of Rodney.
Well, yeah, I forgot. I didn't even think about that. I didn't even think about him being in it.
Yeah.
Until you just said it.
So, there's all kinds of stuff. But yeah, no. Yeah, Val Kilmer and all that stuff in there too.
It's one of Val Kilmer's best movies, in my opinion. It is so fun. It's such a fun role. And it's Val Kilmer at his charming best.
Yeah.
I think of Val Kilmer.
I need to refresh myself on that movie. I know I own it, but I can kind of just barely remember the Val Kilmer stuff.
You're the one that told me to watch it. I'd never seen it, and then we're shooting the shit one day, and you're like, "Hey man, have you ever watched Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?" Because I can't remember what we're talking about. Something about like
Shane Black, probably. Because I remember there was a period where I wanted to catch up on all the Shane Black stuff I never saw, so I went out and bought, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. I bought there's a Bruce Willis one he did in the early '90s. What the heck is that one called? It's a good.
Well, because we were talking about like a bunch of different movies, like that are kind of in that same vein of like funny crime, drama, comedies, whatever you would call it, zany crime movies.
Yeah, maybe
is that like a genre?
It might have been the time when a good guy or not good guys. What?
Well, we talked about that one in Bruges. In Bruges or whatever.
Yeah, maybe because that's what it was. Is those kind of movies that are like kind of dramedies and so on.
Yeah. Dude, Shane Black's a motherfucker, dude.
Yeah, dude, as I said,
The Nice Guys.
Yeah, Nice Guys,
dude.
That was probably where it was. It was probably when Nice Guys came out, and then we kind of led in the other stuff. Oh, The Last Boy Scout. That's the Bruce Willis one I was thinking of. But yeah, like so. I mean, Shane Black. Okay, other than Lethal Weapon, he also.
I thought he died. Oh, he's just a. Yeah, I thought the director of Lethal Weapon died.
Oh, Richard Donner died. So Shane Black just wrote him.
Oh, okay.
So he also did Monster Squad. He did Last Action Hero. I forgot about he did that one too.
Did he really? That's my favorite Arnold movie.
Yeah, I love that one too. He did Long Kiss.
Really iced that guy.
Cone of Phrase.
This is Hollywood. Everybody's beautiful. Oh, Long Kiss Goodnight. He did that film too.
Yep, that's another good one too. And then he's got a new one coming.
The Last Boy Scout. That's an okay movie.
Yeah, it's still pretty decent.
That's pretty good.
It's one of those like pretty big budget movies where it's still got a lot of big explosions and all kinds of stuff. Joel Silver and
right.
It might have been one of the Tony Scott. That's right. Yeah, who's directed it and so on. But
the Nice Guys is a fucking amazing film. I think it's criminal how underrated that film is. It came and went.
Yeah, that movie's like almost kind of like perfect in a sense. Like it's so good.
It's so good.
You know,
it's like I'm shocked that it didn't get as much traction as I thought it would with, Ryan Gosling and Russell Crowe.
Yep.
Together, and they're both phenomenal.
No, to me, I almost think that movie, as like a whole, might even be Shane Black like firing on all cylinders.
Really?
It's so good, It
is a phenomenal film.
And he's writing and directing it and everything like that, where like, other movies like Lethal Weapon, it's like, well, it's kind of a collaboration, more. You got Richard Donner and everything there. But, yeah, when I think of that movie, it's just like, dude, that's just Shane Black. And it's just, and I think that's the thing is he did like movies like that and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. And then it felt like, well, when I do the Predator 4 movie, I'm going to add a little bit of that comedy in there. And then it felt like that was kind of weird in Predator. Like, well, it's like, well, I didn't expect Predator to have that kind of humor. That's almost taking me out of the universe now.
Right. You gotta have the humor be more organic, like Jesse Ventura being a freak on a helicopter.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? Like, it's funny just because of like who the characters are, because they're just so macho.
Right.
Yeah. So
I will say one thing that bugs me is we didn't get to see Billy die.
No, we didn't. He just. The stupid like the deputy guy who just runs off being like, oh, I don't trust these guys, they're out of control. I mean, they're
no, I was talking about Predator, Billy the Indian guy, where he throws
Billy
all his
yeah. And you just hear him scream and he cuts. I fucking love that guy.
I think about that every time I think of Predator, I think about that and I'm like, I wanted to watch Billy die.
What's that weird thing that like when things happen off camera, that's been something ever since I was a kid. I always feel like that's kind of almost like a cop out in a movie, like where
right.
They'll try to tell you, be like, oh, but it's more effective that you don't see it or something like that. I'm like, whenever I hear that, I'm like, bullshit. That just no, it's more cost effective is what it is.
Right.
That's all it is it's a real easy way to save some money is to do it off camera.
How did he get killed? However you imagine.
Yeah, that to me is like such a lazy answer. Or it's like when movies end and they go like, it's up to you to decide how. It's like, no. Dude. You wrote the movie. You tell me how it ends.
Like Inception?
Yeah, I think Inception ends like that, doesn't it?
Inception's so fucking. So he spins the top and then the movie just ends.
Yeah, to me,
I fucking hate it.
I always call those lazy.
I fucking hate it.
And some people think it's like, man, it's like made my mind like, it's like shut the fuck up. No, your mind did not get blown. You just pump the brakes there. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, your mind wasn't put onto the end of a pistol in an opium den.
Yeah, exactly. That's one of those ones like I'll say this like that pulls away there. But to me, I feel like it's still fucking. That's effective in like a different way. It's like I don't need a.
That was enough. We know what happens.
Yeah, we know what happens. It's not like
it's borderline a crime.
Yeah, it's not like Billy versus the Predator. Like I just want to know because there's many ways that could go down.
Right.
But yeah. But wrapping it all up, Tombstone. one of the best fucking westerns, you know. I don't know. I will say I like this movie a lot. I don't know if I'd be like, I know for some people this movie's like literally top 5, you know, even higher for westerns. I don't know if it'd be that high for me, but I still like it quite a bit, you know. But then again, I've watched westerns over time, so you know, sometimes I kind of wonder because like this movie reminds me of one of those ones like it's a great movie that if somebody wasn't really into westerns, it's like a definite one like, hey, check out some Tombstone. I think it's a good gateway western because there's some if you go to show some people some old 70s westerns and stuff, and you know they might be more brutal and everything like that, but they might be a little bit harder for them to get into because just you know the way that old westerns are kind of paced and so on like that.
A little boring for them.
Yeah, exactly. Where Tombstone is done, like it's done like in the Hollywood style of like, it's fun, it's action packed, you know, the characters are cool and everything like that. Kind of reminds me of almost like the way that like for a modern example was like the way that Magnificent Seven remake was, you know, that felt like that was a good gateway one in there. Be like, hey, you know,
very Hollywood.
Yeah, very Hollywood, still fun. I actually think it's a pretty good remake though, all in all.
Hey, it had Ethan Hawke in it, which made me happy.
I fucking love Ethan Hawke.
Me too. He's one of those where I'm like criminally underrated at how awesome he is.
Yeah, and he plays the PTSD guy, which I always think's a cool character in there too. From the
perfect for an Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, you know, yeah, no, I thought that was actually a really solid remake, all in all.
You know what I've always wondered in that one? Who do you consider to be Bronson's character in the remake?
I just started thinking about it because I'm like, I haven't watched the movie since it kind of came out, and I was like, who the hell did play Bronson in that one? Because you know,
the Asian dude is the Switchblade guy, clearly. Remember the Switchblade quick draw guy?
The guy with the blade's the Bronson guy. So maybe
no. No, in the original, the Switchblade guy is the Asian, basically.
Okay.
And they changed it a bit where Ethan Hawke's character, the PTSD guy, is like his panhandler, like, give us the money. It's not the Bronson dude here. Let me look it up.
Yeah, because
now that we're chewing over these Magnificent Sevens.
Yeah, we're getting there, but because I know, because you know you got Chris Evans or not, Chris Pratt is Steve McQueen. You got
oh fuck, not Guns of the Magnificent Seven, you son of a bitch.
Well, there's a lot of Magnificent Seven movies out there too.
I know. Oh, 1960. There we go. Okay. Bernardo L. Riley is so Yul Brynner 100% is Denzel.
Yes.
I would say Steve McQueen, is Pratt's character.
Yeah, he definitely is. Is that Ethan Hawke?
I think it's
PSD guys.
I think it's Chico is the name of the character. No, it's not Chico. Chico's the native.
Yeah, Chico's the native guy.
Maybe it's Lee.
Yeah, I'd have to look him up right off the bat to kind of remember exactly what it was, but.
So it's like if you remember the original Magnificent Seven, Bronson, when they see him, he's just like cutting firewood. And it's like, okay, so is Bronson Vincent D'Onofrio? Is that supposed to be Bronson, but they like kind of changed him a little bit, make him more of a mountain man?
No, I don't think that is. I don't think that's Bronson. Or
because there's no mountain man in the original Magnificent Seven. They just completely concocted him, and the Indian guy's kind of like a new concoction as well.
Yeah, because I think he has some. I think some of the guys have Bronson elements.
Yeah. Right. So then they just they're like, we're going to keep 7, but we're going to kind of change things up a bit.
I think so. Well, because I will say they flesh it out a little bit more. Because I want to say in the old one, it's like the 4 main guys stand out a lot, and then I want to say the last couple guys are kind of like the last 2 or 3 are a little bit like they're sort of just there. You know.
Bronson's kind of a minor character in the film,
but I would almost still say he's one of the last ones of the 4 that kind of stand out, and then there's just especially the last like 6 and 7 are kind of like, as I said, if you just watch the movie, you'd probably notice it. But I remember like they don't stick around as like being like, oh yeah, that guy has that definitive moment and that has that.
Right.
You know.
Well, the biggest thing with Bronson's character, he's like a big tough guy. You know, he's Bronson, so he's jacked for a movie star in the '60s. He's cutting firewood. He's got big old fucking nasty biceps. But he's very sweet to the children. Makes them toys and gives them candy.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why he's like the most brutal one.
Right.
But yeah, another great Western and so on like that. But as I said, that Magnificent Seven, that remake kind of reminds me of like a good gateway one, just the same way that Tombstone is. But if you've never watched Tombstone, well, you need to go out and seek this bad boy out because it's something special. I know I watched it on Prime, but I wasn't too sure if for some reason let's see, does this thing have a digital code? I was really wondering, I'm like, did I have no, I don't have a digital code. So I was wondering if I owned it, like, because of that. But maybe it is on Prime, you know. Was it?
It is. That's where I watched it.
Okay, because that's where I watched it too. But I kind of questioned that for a second. I was like, wait a second, because it was weird where some movies like it will be like not on Prime, and then like I check it like 2 days later. It's like, oh, there it is. What the heck? What was I looking at?
Shit, if you have cable TV and you just scan on any given day, you might come across Tombstone. It's on all the time.
Yeah, if you're old school and you still have cable and satellite, you probably can find it on TBS or TNT very commonly. The Western Channel, CMT. You know, there's a few of those ones that it might show up on.
Making a round on HBO at some point or one of those premium channels.
So
it's on a lot.
Yeah, well worth going out of the way. It would be hard to find someone who didn't like this movie. You know, it's one of those ones. You'd have to just really not like Westerns, I guess. But, yeah, this one's just action-packed. It's fun. The story's pretty close to being accurate. I mean, it takes a little bit of, like, liberties and so on like that. But it gives you that Wyatt Earp Tombstone era. Hey, this is how it went down and so on. And, yeah, it's overloaded with actors galore. But go check out Tombstone. Till then, though, you can always find all the other Old Man Orange podcasts and other fun stuff on YouTube and Spotify. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
And Josh.
And we'll see you some other time.